Believe it or not, when we condemn a soul to punishment, we do not merely measure time in years or centuries. No, we stretch their existence itself, keeping them alive and aware, far beyond the limits of what flesh or spirit were ever meant to endure. The Astralic Pits of Despair make it so. These pits are not prisons, they are not dungeons, they are not cages. They are living voids, biomechanical entities older than recorded history, fused with horrors no sane hand would have engineered. Each one is a planetary carcass, a moon-sized husk that pulses faintly with malignant vitality, throbbing with the despair it harvests. These entities drink sorrow as others drink water. They breathe torment, they devour hope. We feed them the worst creatures who ever dared to foul existence with their crimes. Murderers, betrayers, blasphemers, those who spat in the face of every gift given to them. They are torn from the mercy of a quick death and cast alive into the pits. Their sentence is not merely endured, it is extracted. For the Astralic Pits do not allow despair to dull or soften with time. Every nerve, every synapse is poisoned by their neurotoxin, a venom of despair, so absolute it locks suffering at its highest pitch forever. The condemned cannot faint, they cannot numb, they cannot sink into madness as an escape. Each shriek feels like the first shriek. Each agony feels as if it were freshly born. 10 years or 10,000, it makes no difference. The torment is always as sharp as the first incision. Our sentences are long, longer than mortal minds can hold without breaking. A single life term spans 350 years, for our kind live longer than most. But the cruel mathematics of justice compounds. 25 life terms plus another 1,000 years adds to nearly 10,000 years. 10,000 years in which time itself mocks the condemned, dragging them through ages of unending screams. And when the sentence is finally complete, there is no release into peace, no comfort, no forgiveness. When their term concludes, their bodies, half digested by the pits, are ejected only to die and slide headlong into hell. The pits heed no voice but two, the great wolf Adinstvo and the Lord himself. Not kings, not emperors, not armies can breach their will. Even entire fleets that sought to storm them found their weapons withered, their crews gibbering mad before they could fire. The pits do not relinquish prey until their debt is utterly exhausted. And when one steps upon the moon-sized carcasses, one knows with dreadful certainty the Creator has turned his face away. The warmth of divinity is gone. The soul cannot sense the hand of its maker. Not even Adinstvo, who walks closer to the divine than any living being, can feel the Lord's nearness there. Only silence, only abandonment, only the faint ember of the spirit deep within his own chest prevents him from being smothered entirely. Even his aura, which blazes like a sun in the darkest void, grows dim there, swallowed by the pit's unholy gravity. Travelers who dare approach the Astralic Pits of Despair speak of terrors no sane tongue wishes to describe. Through the void of space carries no sound. The hulls of ships vibrate with phantom screams. Metal itself seems to weep. Every corridor stinks of putrefaction, of rotting meat and sour bile, as though death itself seeps through steel. Strong men vomit until their throats bleed. Hardened captains claw their ears raw, trying to block out the whispers of the damned. Instruments fail. Musics die. Every system falls silent, but for the chorus of despair rising from the entity itself. The sky above the pit grows red, not metaphorically, literally red, as though space itself is bleeding. The stars drowned in a miasma of coagulated suffering. Those who look upon it too long swear their eyes fill with blood. They swear their dreams throb with pain for years after. Even the Dark Empire, whose atrocities have scarred galaxies, whispers in fear of this place. Their prophets, who mock every virtue and revel in torment, do not dare enter the orbit of the pits. Even they know their own hells are pale limitations. Even Adenstro's own flagship, the cursed VDOF Sutek, a vessel forged from screams and wreckage, a ship whose hull itself is a choir of agony, trembles when it nears the pits, its engines stutter, its terrible voice falter. For all its cruelty, even Sutek senses something deeper, older, fouler than itself. The Astralic Pits of Despair are not prisons. They are not punishments. They are wounds in creation, left open for Adensfo alone to yield. They are hell made manifest in the mortal realm, and when the great wolf casts a soul into their abyss, that soul is beyond salvation, beyond redemption, beyond the reach any god can save. Any god save the Creator himself. The ancients said the pits were dormant, buried beyond stars, hidden by the Lord's hand until the time was right. But when Adensfo was born, the earth itself trembled, and the pits awoke, yawning wide, not as a curse, but as a gift, a weapon of judgment, a furnace of despair meant to scour whole systems of the wicked. They are not justice, they are not mercy, they are finality. The Astralic Pits of Despair are proof that some sins cannot be cleansed, some stains cannot be washed, some souls cannot be saved. And when Adensfo speaks the word, the pits open, and the condemned are swallowed forever. The scripture of damnation, the priests of the pits, a cold and merciless statement carved into the echoes of the damned. There is no dawn here, only the endless gnawing of the dark. You who once sought mercy, look around you, there is none. The prayers you whisper rise like smoke, only to suffocate you. The hands that reach for heaven find only jagged stone. Your breath is ransom, yet no one will pay. You are numbered among the forgotten, and in forgetting, you are annihilated. This is your inheritance, despair unending. The voice of the scripture is not rage, but cold recitals, as though the torment were mathematics, exact, inevitable, undeniable. The damned are not screamed at, they are catalogued, filed away, left to rot under an indifferent infinity. The words describe torment, but with such lifeless precision that it is worse than hatred, for hatred at least implies acknowledgement. Here, there is only the silence of abandonment. The text loops endlessly, a cycle where every word folds into the next. Those who hear it feel the truth sinking into the marrow, that there is no exit, no hand of salvation, no final act of grace, only the sinking spiral, only the gnashing of eternity grinding them into nothing. The doctrine of the Pits of Despair, a cruel philosophy written as law, etched into the very walls of purgation. All who fall are consumed. There is no rescue. Those who tumble into the pits are devoured, not by flame, but by the slow erosion of hope until the soul itself, hollow dust, is hollow dust. That's number one. Number two, suffering is not punishment, but purpose. Here, agony is not justice, but fuel. The screams feed the pit, deepen it, widen it. Each cry is mortar, each tear is brick. The damned build their own eternal prison, stone by stone, wound by wound. 3. Redemption is severed at the root. No matter what one begs, no matter how violently one claws upward, the walls of the pit grow taller, slicker, sharper. Every attempt to rise carves more flesh away until there's not enough left to climb. Number 4. The pit is alive. It feeds on its captives. It breathes in their misery like sweet perfume. The walls pulse with hunger. The floor gurgles with teeth. The pit wants its prisoners, and it loves them with a predator's love. The deeper ones. Number 5. The deeper one falls. The louder the silence, the deeper one falls, the louder the silence. For at the bottom of the pit, the screams of others are muffled, and the damned hear only their own heartbeat echoing, slow, endless, mocking. Number 6. Eternity is repetition. Every day in the pit is the same. Every day is worse. Every day is never ending. There is no progression, no lesson, no reward, only circling back to the same knife edge of anguish again and again, forever. Together, the scripture and the doctrine function like twin chains. One is the cold recitation of fate. The other is the merciless law of the pit. There is no salvation in these words. No, but if clause. No final reprieve. Only the certainty that the damned are ground down into nothing, not with fire and spectacle, but with the cruel banality of an eternal machinery that has no interest in their escape. The scripture of damnation. Hear, O broken souls, the words written not in light, but in the marrow of despair. For the gates of redemption have been sealed, and the key is buried in the ash of all that was once pure. There is no salvation here, no horizon of dawn, no whisper of reprieve. The judge of the damned has spoken. Mercy is but a forgotten myth. In these depths, punishment is not a sentence. It is existence, eternal, recursive, gnawing at bone and spirit alike. The cries of the fallen are not prayers, but instruments in the symphony of despair. Each scream is a hymn, each sob a psalm, echoing through caverns without end. The heavens are deaf, and the earth itself vomits out its dead, consigning them to the abyss, where fire does not warm, but burns, and shadow does not conceal, but suffocates. The damned are stripped of memory, stripped of love, stripped even of the faint illusion that time marches forward. Here time loops back upon itself, stitching every wound open again, replaying every horror, amplifying every agony, to hunger without eating, to thirst without drinking, to age without rest. That is a liturgy of eternity. The scripture is written not on parchment, but on flesh, not with ink, but with torment. To read it is to live it is to never end. The doctrine of the pits of despair. Thus say the keepers of the abyss, the pits are not prisons, but truths unveiled, for the true essence of the soul is not glory, but rot. The pits yawn like mouths, swallowing without fullness, devouring without satisfaction. Those cast into them do not fall once, but forever. The descent itself becomes their cage, always plunging, never landing, yet bruised and broken by the fall that never ends. In the pits of despair, silence itself is a predator. It waits until the screams die out, then slithers into the hollow spaces of the mind, feeding on thought, feeding on identity. In silence, the condemned hear the echoes of their sins, repeated in voices not their own, whispered back with venom and mockery. Every breath is labor, every heartbeat a betrayal. The body rots, yet never dies. The soul splinters, yet never dissolves. Worms crawl through their veins of fire. Shadows stitch themselves into flesh, and hunger gnaws not at the stomach, but at the memory of ever being whole. No plea is heard. No prayer is answered. No bargain is accepted. The pits strip the soul of even its final possession, the illusion of hope. What remains is a husk, aware only of its own futility, conscious of its endless unraveling. This is the doctrine that despair itself is holy, for it is unending, and those who dwell within it are not punished for their sins. They become their sins, the very essence and altar to their undoing. And finally, Edensfo's wrathful speech to the captured emperor of the Dark Empire. Do you hear it, worm? The sound of inevitability approaching. My claws, my fangs, my judgment. A proper punishment for filth like you has already been written in blood, and you cannot escape it. Your undoing is not coming. It is already here. I am your undoing. Your empire will be nothing but carrion for scavengers, and you will be the first to fall. Your mangled body shall not rot uselessly. No, I will shape it into something meaningful, artwork of torment. Your organs, your blood, your marrow, your very bones will be striped and shattered like trophies to the innocent, to the suffering children who will rise while you fall. Every cut into your carcass will save a life more worthy than yours. Every drop of your blood will flow into someone who deserves to live. You call yourself an emperor? Ha! You will be reduced to scraps in a medical ledger, a list of harvested pieces sold at a fair price. Your empire ends with your ribs on a surgeon's table and your heart beating in the chest of a child you once would have enslaved. Do you understand the poetry of that parasite? Your pathetic, wasteful existence will be recycled. You will be stripped of dignity, reduced to parts, a failed organism butchered to sustain the righteous, and the thought of it warms me with triumph. My jaws ache for the moment I may laugh into your empty chest cavity and watch the last flicker of your pride gutter out like a dying ember. You, waste of oxygen, defective spawn, leeching vermin, ignorant fool, a maggot writhing within the filth of your own corruption. You gorge yourself on what better men bleed to earn, and then you vomit that filth back into the world as your legacy. You disgrace your species. You mock every sacrifice made by the good, the noble, the desperate. You plunder your hoard. You revel in gluttony while children starve in the shadows of your throne. You thought yourself untouchable, didn't you? A self-crowned god of decay, but gods not bleed, and you will. You were warned. Oh yes, the warnings came like storms across the sky. Prophets, warriors, martyrs all shouted you doom. And you spat upon them. You silenced them. You mocked their wisdom. But every warning rejected is another lash upon your soul. And now the judgment of 10,000 years of fire will fall on you with no mercy, no reprieve, no escape. You are a dog in the manger, snarling over scraps you do not even eat. A swine rolling in a cesspit of your own greed. A serpent sinking fangs into the very hands that dared to lift you from the mud. You are no emperor, you are carrion, wrapped in silk. You pompous peacock, you buzzing mosquito, you plague, you pestilence, you are parasite. And now I curse your existence. Damn you, damn your name, damn your throne, your empire, your legacy. Damn the ashes of your bones when they finally scattered to the void. Everything you cling to, everything you ever loved will be ripped away, strand by strand, sinew by sinew. You clutch your treasures like a monkey clings to its banana. I will pry them from your hands and leave you weeping in the dirt. And still, I will not kill you yet. No. First you will watch as all that you have built is torn down, stone by stone, banner by banner, bone by bone. You are a caterpillar of destruction, consuming all in your path and leaving behind only waste. And now waste is what you will become, fertilizer for the righteous. But mark me well, even the soil will choke on you, even the ground will sicken and rot, salted by the infection of your corpse. You are too poisonous even to decay with dignity. How sweet it would be to watch the light leave your eyes. How glorious the sight of your soul clawing desperately as my fangs rip it free. I will smile when you shriek. I will savor the trembling of your last breath as I feed your terror to the Creator himself as a burnt offering of justice. Die, insect. Die, worm. Die and make room for those who deserve the gift of life. And when the darkness finally swallows you, know this. I will still be smiling. My grin will be the last thing you see before eternity. My laughter will be the last sound you hear. My judgment will be the last thing you know. You, Emperor of the Dark Empire, are nothing but a corpse waiting to be harvested, and I am your executioner.